Ladies, gentlemen, how are ya? Undead Unluck, chapter 134. Yoshifumi Gotsuka continues to do it. His storytelling prowess are reaching levels over 9,000. I'm extremely happy and excited to see where he takes the second loop because this is such a unique scenario right now. I've never really seen something like this in a manga or an anime. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. However, this is super unique. Getting to go, to the past or in the future, just to get introduced to all of these different characters who we know, but it's kind of a completely different version of them. It's before they gain these abilities, before these tragedies took over their life. They're just completely different individuals. And we see this with Nico right here. We saw it with Akira Kuno last chapter. However, it's going to be a crazy ride going through this second loop, and we've got a lot to talk about this chapter, so let's just do it. Before we dive in, if you could spare our young man some love, drop a like, a subscription, they're both free, and comment for me. Who are you most excited to see during this loop? I honestly am very excited to see Ruin. I saw him, you all saw him, on Fuuko's roadmap, and I'm very confused. How are we gonna get the King of Negators, the individual who worships the sun, Kami, to get on our side? And even just, seeing his backstory, is he even a human? I kinda think he's a vampire? I don't know. Very excited to see it though. Nonetheless, we're still in 1972 right now, except this time we're in the Big Apple. Apparently, where Nico Fuuko is. I don't know if he was born here, but this is some cool information finding him here, and we're trying to get him on our side. This whole interaction was dope as heck. Like I was saying earlier, one of the coolest things about this second loop is getting to see who these characters were before their transition. And this was a very crazy one. Just seeing Nico Fuuko, still the hard-headed, very scientific genius who we know, but seeing him in a more happy, lively state, even look under his eyes. He doesn't have those bags that he gets after he gets unforgettable, and it's just a different individual than we kind of knew out of Nico. But he's still not that different considering he's just a man of science who only believes in the rules. And this is why when Fuuko knocks on his door telling him to let's defeat God, he closes that shit on her face saying, God dang it, another fanatic. But our girl Fuuko will not take no for an answer, and that is not a lesson for you all. If somebody says no, persistence is weird. Take that for your answer. However, Fuuko, doing a very similar thing to what she did to Akira Kuno, uses move to walk straight through her door and just show Nico, I'm not lying to you, let's sit down and talk. Similar to what we've always known about Nico, seeing something that breaks the rules breaks his head. So whenever Move just walks straight through a door with Fuuko, he's just completely dumbfounded, can't even comprehend what he's seeing and experiencing, drops a cigarette on the floor and just starts burning the entire place down, and I'm just over here dying laughing because I felt him. This reminded me just like the flashbacks from last loop whenever him and Ichiko are working within their office and the entire place is just extremely dirty. He's ignoring all of reality in order to just indulge in his curiosities, and that's exactly what's going on here, and Fuuko even says it to him. But once Nico's brain calms down a little bit and Fuuko begins to explain the situation, we get to see some more interesting shit out of him. He just sits there trying to believe what he's hearing, and he's looking through this room, looking up to the wall of greats. You see like Nikola Tesla, a little outline of who I think is like Albert Einstein, and he's sitting here just talking like the rules. How could Kami just diminish these rules, these things that scientists have been working for years and years, and just throw it to the wayside, and we don't even get to understand it? This is what pissed Nico off. And it's funny because the same thing happens to him in the previous loop with just a different agitator, I guess to say. He's always been extremely upset about the fact that God just makes these rules that just diminish science to nothing. But here, it's in a completely different sense. He's like, wait, there's a whole other side of the world that other scientists have never gotten to learn about? That's not fair. Overall, this portion of the chapter just really made me happy to read because it was really cool just to see how Yoshifumi creates a very good dynamic between Fuuko and Nico, by just tying together all we know about each character. Obviously, we know a lot more about Fuuko than Nico. However, getting to see through what we've learned about Nico in the past just be exemplified through how he's acting right now is really cool. Getting to see that he's still that individual that hates whenever the rules are broken, whenever science is diminished by kami, and getting to see that he's still this dude who doesn't believe that like he can do anything but just be a scientist. Whenever they're asking about, love and shit, he's like, woman? I don't need one of those. Little kid? I could never need one of those, and he doesn't even know that, hey, in a little bit of time, you gonna meet the finest girl in Undead Unluck. Ichiko Nemuri, come on. So after all those hilarious interactions, we finally have broken the ice and Fuuko begins to lay out her plan to Nico. Although she can't necessarily stop negators from gaining their abilities, she's just looking to get in contact with them before they cause their tragedies due to them randomly manifesting their abilities. And as we know, agent number 1 is Gina. Fuuko explains that she has an extremely versatile ability, one that would help them out in, saving more individuals, and that's kind of the plan. We get one negator who's going to help us out in saving the next negator, and so on and so forth down that entire large roadmap that Fuuko had built out for us. And it also makes sense that we're getting Gina first, just considering how old she is. Remember that Gina, she uses Unchange on herself in order to keep her skin in place and make herself, look nice and fit and young. However, she is much older than a lot of the people within the Union. Also, I almost cried laughing whenever I saw Nico almost have an aneurysm just trying to comprehend how Gina has an ability that just diminishes every single law of physics has ever stated. That's some good shit, Yoshifumi. As mentioned, none of the negators within the Union have actually manifested their abilities yet, so Fuuko needs some help outside of just herself to get this job done. And that's why she actually pulled up on Nico. And Nico's a bit confused, asking, why are you trying to get help from me? However, it's because we need some help from a great scientist to create something that could combat a negator ability. And that's something that we need built right now is an idea, an invention from the future. The psychopod, something which is actually able to contain Unchange whenever it's not able to be, controlled. And this also killed me because Nico is probably the one who made that invention and he named it the psychopod. He's never with Gina. He doesn't like her and he just thinks he's a psycho because she kind of is. The tsundere character, it makes sense. So the psychopod is going to be used to combat Gina's ability. However, this is some of the craziest things we've ever learned in Undead Unluck. Gina's tragedy. Occurring somewhere in the USSR, which I'm not going to try to pronounce, back in 1972, upon gaining her ability, a young woman named Gina unconsciously asphyxiated 40,000 people. Let's take a second. 40 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0. Not gonna lie, so I saw the spoilers for this chapter, and what I saw that she had taken 40 people. 40,000? She killed an entire country, a whole city-state. What? Gina, baby, come on. So aside from Gina almost murdering an entire city, the most interesting part of this chapter for me was hearing about Nico and Fuuko talking about, what's my tragedy? Nico asks her, because he's a smart guy, he kind of surmises that if you want a scientist to help you, you could have asked anybody. That must mean that I was a part of that group previously, and if I'm a part of that group, I must be a negator. What am I gonna be? What's my tragedy gonna be? However, Fuuko tells him and kind of thinks within her own head, I cannot tell you anything. She can't really change things too much because she still needs things to reach the state that they were in this past loop. Nico is as smart as he's ever been, even with all the tragedies which befell him, and we need that version of Nico, and it's kind of like the butterfly effect. We can't change too much and damn near change things at all, or else we're not going to be able to attain what we need to attain. And that's the crazy part. And it even kind of adds to that point of Akira Kuno being able to be saved completely. He just touched the G-liner pin, which was kind of trapped or poisoned, to give somebody unknown. However, we can stop him from becoming unknown because of that fact. Everybody else, though, we can't even stop their negator abilities from manifesting. We have to let those abilities come about. We just have to try to stop the tragedies which occur alongside it. And that's the cool thing. I wonder how we're going to be able to stop all of them. And one in particular, I don't think we can stop. I don't think we're gonna be able to save Layla Mira because it doesn't seem like she had an incurable disease. Like it sounds like she's screwed. Nonetheless, that's the end of the chapter, and it was an amazing chapter. One that got my mind racing. The art was beautiful. Yoshifumi was writing his butt off, like I'd been saying, and it was just a good one. One thing that I'd really pondered at the end of this, and it's kind of a pointless question, however, it's a question I've kind of wandered throughout the entire time I've read this series, is I wonder if in the next couple chapters, as Nico builds out this psychopod, this, technology for the future, we're gonna get to learn about how the Union has so much money and resources that, it has. Maybe it kind of ties back into, the Abe Lincoln situation or something. Like, maybe we got the whole United States government backing us or some shit because we saved Abe Lincoln and blah, 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 blah. However, I don't know. Very interesting thing, because, we want to build some tech from the future, but it seemed like Nico was a guy living in a regular-ass apartment in the middle of New York City. Probably not the richest guy in the world, neither is Fuuko. However, we'll figure that out. Maybe we just have everything back in the HQ still, but who knows? Who knows? Undead Unluck, amazing. Yoshifumi Gotsuka, amazing. I don't know how long this video is either, so I'm gonna sign off, but hasta luego.